Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a backyard transformation that you don't want to miss. Hopefully this video is very motivating and inspiring, and yeah, I don't even know where to start except for to say this is what our yard looked like when we first moved in, and this is what it looks like now. It has completely changed, but it took a lot of time and effort to get here, and I really wanted to share a full video just breaking down the entire process over the years, how much we've spent, all the just effort and time that we've put into this space to get it to where it is now, and hopefully inspire you guys to do the same. If you are new to my channel, I'm Carrie Lynn. We are in what started as our starter home and turning it into our forever home, one project at a time. I share DIYs, home updates, vlogs, homemaking. I like to do thrift store shopping, a lot of decluttering happening recently. So if you like any of that, make sure you hit that red subscribe button. And without further ado, let's dive into when we first bought our house in 2019. All right, this is back in 2019. We first bought our house. It was a blank slate. We had just a couple random pieces of furniture that we had, and this back porch had a large round patio space. I always thought that maybe they covered up a pool, but turns out they just liked a round patio. It also had a existing shed. That's where our laundry room was. And it didn't take me long to start making it feel like home. I added some pots with some posts to make some string lights. That way it was nice and cozy. And at that time, we were working on very minimal budget. We also had to add a privacy fence over there in the back. You can see that was because that was just chain link, and the neighbor next door to us could kind of see what we were doing in the yard, which I didn't really love that. So we added that privacy fence. That was one of the first things we did. And that, I want to say, was right around $500 to do that one section. But that was so hard because we've never done anything like that before. And we swore we would never add another fence ever again. But we ended up having to, and I'll share in just a minute. But we did end up getting a pool finally, and this is when we realized the summers are just way too hot. So we got our first pool, very small one, because the kids were still little and didn't really know how to swim yet. And my son was a little daredevil, loved the water, so we did end up building a pool fence around it. And this actually lasted a long time. We actually added a couple different pools inside this pool fence, and it was really cute. It had lots of plants growing and vines all over the fence. It ended up turning out great, and that cost us right around $300 to build because we did do it super affordable because we were broke. And you got to do what you got to do to protect your kids. So at that point, the yard still looked really cute. We had a garden going, we had the pool, the fence, and I actually had all this patio furniture I'd gotten for free off the side of the road or given to me. And we saved up money and we built our first patio cover. This is the video that actually went viral, and I was so excited because we put so much work into this, and it was actually I think one of the ways that my channel grew so much. So thank you if you're still watching from that video. So this cost us around $450, and I have a full video if you'd like to check it out. It'll be down below in the description box. But basically, we just took a bunch of 4x4s and 2x4s and built the most basic 10x10 gazebo to give us some shade. If you live in any hot climate, you know being in the direct sun is not going to be great. And we're in Florida. It is brutal here in the summertime, so we needed something over this patio. The umbrellas were not cutting it, so we did some research, and this is what we ended up coming up with. And I think it turned out pretty darn good. So that is how that turned out. It looked so good, but I want to take just a moment and thank today's sponsor, AQUASTRONG. We have slowly but surely been transforming our backyard into a beautiful, comfortable oasis, and this right here is a major pool upgrade that I am so excited about. Thank you, AQUASTRONG, for sponsoring today's video. Living in Florida, we use our pool constantly, but the water temperature never seems to cooperate with us. It's either freezing cold or feels like a giant hot tub during the summer. So instead of hoping for the perfect pool day, this is going to help us actually enjoy the pool way more often. This is the AQUASTRONG Hex 018. It's an inverter swimming pool heat pump that can both heat and cool the pool depending on what you need. The installation process is super easy. It comes with everything you need to get it connected. The
hose adapters, the conversion kit, and easy to follow instructions. And once you get it all set up, then all you have to do is plug it into any standard 115 volt outlet and it's ready to go. A huge plus is that it's designed to be energy efficient. It uses 70% less electricity than traditional electric heaters and is around 40% more efficient than gas heaters, which is amazing because, it actually helps with long-term energy use, and that's a win in my book. It's super quiet. It only runs at about 38 to 48 decibels, which is like a quiet conversation. So it's not loud at all. But you know what my favorite thing about this is that it's actually designed for above ground pools like mine. And this makes it feel so much more realistic and attainable for our backyard setup because let's be real, not everyone has the budget for a huge custom in-ground pool. So to be able to find upgrades that still make a budget-friendly backyard transformation like ours feel elevated and enjoyable is so nice. This honestly made our pool feel so much more usable, comfortable, and worth all the hard work we put into this space over the years. So now, instead of waiting for the perfect weather or temperature, we are going to actually enjoy our backyard way more often. Thank you, AQUASTRONG, for sponsoring today's video and helping take our pool to the next level.
But before we actually got to that point, there was a lot of hiccups, and we're going to continue talking about them. And this was one of them. I wouldn't really call it a fail. I mean, it was a little bit of a fail. We tried to transform the yard by planting a bunch of trees. We thought, okay, our yard just looks really plain. We want some privacy. Let's go buy a bunch of different bushes that are supposed to get really big really fast. Unfortunately, they didn't. We also had no grass, so we spent a lot of money between the plants and grass seed. We spent about $500 on trees alone, and none of them survived. The grass did grow, and it turned out really beautiful. But at that time, we also ended up getting into a massive argument with our neighbor, and so a privacy fence was a must. And we dropped $1,000 within a weekend on a new privacy fence. The argument actually stemmed from where the pool was and the old pool fence, and our dogs and their dogs fighting through the fence. It was a boil up of things, to be honest with you. So we decided to remove the pool, take out the old pool fence, add the new privacy fence, and then honestly, the yard looked beautiful at this point. Why did we continue messing with it? I don't know, because when I look at this video clip, I'm like, girl, your yard looked great. What the heck are you doing? But I'll tell you what happened. Life happened. Our house became a little cluttered. What started off as like a perfectly sized house started to feel really closed in pretty quick after the first couple years. We ended up installing a metal shed for storage, and it just wasn't a great layout based off of where we ended up putting it from the existing shed. And then to top it all off, that existing shed started to rot out because it's where our laundry room was and it wasn't draining properly. It just was a whole mess, and we needed to have our laundry room fixed. But instead of just replacing it with another small shed, we thought, why don't we just rip all this out and just replace it with one big building instead? It would cost about the same amount of money, and then we can actually utilize it in a better way. So I started doing research, and I came across steel buildings that you can kind of turn into like a barn-dominium or a tiny home. And I love the idea of investing and adding this to our backyard because not only is it going to add value to our home, we're going to have a actual designated laundry room now. We'll have additional living space. It can also be a additional dwelling unit down the line, whether the kids want to move in and rent it out, or if we need to rent it out to someone else in the future, we totally can. So that is the route we ended up deciding to go. But in order to start the process, there was a lot that needed to be done. This entire yard had to pretty much be demoed and cleared out. So all the plants, we tried to rehome and save them. A lot of them did survive. Actually, that one did survive big time. It grew huge. But we had fences to tear down, the two sheds to tear out as well. And I just want to give a huge shout out to my brother for coming over and helping. We would not have been able to do this without his help and his tractor. Believe it or not, although the floor was rotting out, this actual shed was built very well, and it took us a lot to get this thing to come down. He had to pull it and push it and stab it with his tractor. But eventually we were able to knock it down. But check this out. So I did share this in those videos if you ever want to go back and watch the full process. He had to shimmy his little tractor down our side yard, around the corner of the shed, through underneath this patio cover, without hitting anything with this tractor. I don't know how he did it, but he is like super good at this. And then he even helped us save our patio cover for a little bit. We knew we were going to need shade for a while, and he just lifted it up with a tractor and moved it. So grateful for that, because it was definitely a lifesaver for a while until we could rebuild the new one. And yeah, we're gonna demo all this out. Oh, it's so crazy looking back. It's funny because, you don't really remember. I mean, I do remember, but like sometimes every day, like I'm out here like looking around and walking around, I just look at where it's at now. It's like you almost forget sometimes what it took to get there. So I don't know, it's just crazy to see all these videos again. I did want to share, during the demo, we did have some issues with somebody in our neighborhood. I don't know who called. I have assumptions, obviously, but I'm not 100%, so I don't want to like point fingers or anything. However, during our demo, it was a lot of work, and I know it was loud and obnoxious, but what can you do? We were trying to demo our yard. So we were trying our best to get it done as quickly as possible and, not disturb anyone. So there was like some nights where we were out there probably till about 8 p.m., but like we would never do anything crazy late at night that was going to disturb anybody. But during the day, it was chaos constantly. We had a large dumpster out front, and then even at one point, my brother and Dylan had to cut concrete. They had to cut the concrete slab and take chunks out front and put it in the yard. Tell me why someone called and complained about the trash being in our front yard. Now, please keep in mind that we do not live in an HOA neighborhood. I would never purchase a home in an HOA neighborhood. I don't want nobody telling me what I can and cannot do here in my front yard or backyard. But I also, I respect other people. It's not like we were trying to make a mess or be like a disturbance by any means. Like, we just wanted to have a nice backyard. And let's also keep in mind that every other house in my neighborhood, it's like a hit or miss neighborhood. Like, I know that might sound odd to say, but it's true. We literally live where every other house is either really nice or there is just a pileup of garbage and trash. And hey, you know what? We're just in the thick of it right now because we were doing renovations. So anyway, I did talk to the lady. I called and disputed the fine or whatever. And then a couple days later, she comes by again for another complaint, taking photos of the house and wanting to see permits or whatever for what we're working on. Ma'am, I have them. Like, you're not going to get me, okay? Because like I have everything done right because I just knew someone was going to call. I had a feeling. And then to top everything off, how about we had every intention of putting the building as backed up as close to the fence as we could, and then found out that we have an easement on both sides of our property. Yeah, a 7.5-foot easement. So that really just threw me over the edge. I was like, you got to be kidding me. When they told me I had to come in 7 foot from the side of our fence, I was like, I already bought the shed. Like, this is crazy. So I call my brother like in a panic. I call Dylan in a panic, and my brother, this is what he does for a living, like grading. Well, I don't know if this is what he does now, but he like grades and does all this kind of stuff. So he came over with stakes and helped me tape it all out and kind of gave me peace of mind that it was going to all be fine. He also marked it with some spray paint so that way we could see exactly where the building was going to go. And shortly after that, they came to finally form it, which felt like it took months and months. It actually did take a while. But they came and like got it all formed. And then the following day, they came and poured the concrete, which I did not get much footage of. And if I did get footage, I could not find it. So that is what the slab looked like after it was done. Well, now the process was waiting to get the shed built, so I decided to lay sod because I could not take the dirt anymore. And then they finally came, started working on the steel building. It took them basically a whole day and then a little bit of the next day, so it wasn't bad at all. But they got this done pretty quick. I was actually really impressed. And I didn't even notice it until I watched this video back, that I thought that the entire building came like pre-cut and they just had to install it. I realized after watching this that they actually had to cut all the individual pieces of steel and build it right here on site. So that's why it took so long. I was under the impression that it was like they build it at a shop and then they just come and assemble it. But no, they actually built it right here. And it turned out beautiful. The guys were great. And yeah, this is what it ended up looking like. I did opt to not have a door put on. It would have just costed me more money. They didn't do French doors. So that's why there's no door, in case you're wondering.
At this point, we're pretty broke. We've put a lot of money into this and everything has been paid out of pocket. So now it was going to be a extremely slow process. We did account for the door cost though, because we wanted to make sure we could get a door on immediately, make sure no bugs or anything got in here. And we got that installed pretty quick. And then it was a matter of every month we worked on what we could. We could afford to get some foam board and we added some foam board. We worked on adding the framework and just all like anything we could afford for that month we would put into it. And it felt like we were building a house that was never getting complete. There was like one point in time where I wanted to give up and just like throw some sheets up on the wall. Like I didn't even care anymore, because when I tell you, without this foam board and insulation that we added, so we not only added insulation like the foam board, but we also added roll insulation as well, because there was no way that this whole space would have stayed cool the way it does without that. So if you're just keep in mind, if you're ever going to add a steel building to your home or like to your yard or use it as a home, like a tiny house or like a she shed, you need to double insulate it. I'm telling you, it's worth the extra time and effort. Now this building stays cooler than my house because it is so well insulated, and I love that. Now let's talk about the cost, because I know this was a really hot topic and I never really addressed it after the fact because I was a little disappointed in how much over budget we went. The plan initially was to buy the building, which after taxes and the little added fees was about $15,000. And then we were planning on spending about $10,000 over the course of the year, slowly but surely, finishing it, adding the insulation, the trim, and the flooring and all the things. But we ended up spending an additional $5,000 on top of that because there were some things that we ended up having to hire out, hidden costs that we didn't think about, tools. That is something a lot of people don't talk about whenever they are doing projects like this. Everything just adds up so quickly. And while in the moment we were doing okay, because like I said, we paid slowly out of pocket. We never went into debt over anything. I never put anything on a credit card. It was truly, if we had it that month, we did it. And if we didn't work on it. And there was many times, many weeks where we were at a standstill. And I was like, I don't know. I'm hoping I get a sponsor or something. But if we didn't, then that was okay. We just kind of were, in the waiting process. But it ended up costing us around $15,000 extra to finish it. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I just said that out loud. So about a $30,000 project start to finish. However, I did do research before we did the building and adding an addition to our home. So a lot of you were wondering, why did we do the building and not just add to our actual house? It was simply because of the cost, because adding to our home would have cost around $55,000 to $65,000. And that was coming from an engineer, because we originally planned on closing in our carport, but then we found out the whole carport would have to be rebuilt, and that was where the cost got really high. And then there's nowhere else really to add on to our home except for in the carport. We don't have room out front, and we really didn't have a whole lot of room out back to add unless we took, our patio out. So this was really our best option, and I think for the price, it was worth it, in my opinion. At this point in time, like now we've been living with it, we know what we have. I think it was worth it. And like I said, down the line, when it comes down to it, if one of our children or if, one of our parents need a place to live, like we have that option as like kind of like a mother-in-law suite or additional dwelling unit, whatever you want to call it. The only thing that will have to be added is a bathroom. And that was something else. Why did we not add a bathroom? Cost. We were already over budget. I think if we weren't over budget and it wasn't that much, we would have totally done it. But I don't regret it either. I think that that's always something we can figure out down the line. And we did design and build this space made for a bathroom down the line. So if we ever wanted to, we know exactly where it would go. But anyway, all of the building is almost done. We worked on painting. My husband did all the electrical, so that saved us a lot of money. And yeah, this was basically where we were at with our little fun family space and laundry room. I did lay the flooring myself. Once again, saved me a lot of money. I got this flooring from Lowe's, and I will have it linked down below. It's called Honey Oak, and I can't remember the name brand of the floor, but it's Honey Oak's. I want to say it's Style Selections. I could be wrong, but I think it's Style Selections Honey Oak. It's really pretty, but it does not hold up that great. It does scratch pretty easily. Don't slide furniture across the floor.
At this point, it was starting to get kind of chilly outside. We decided it was the perfect time to go ahead and tear out the old gazebo, the one that I showed at the beginning of the video that we built. Yep, it's finally coming down. Really sad to see that go, but it's time for something bigger and better. So if we got that out of the way, continued to clear out the yard, finished up the rest of what we could inside the new addition. We added a wood beam for like some cozy looks. There was some hole patching, trim, more painting I had to do, and eventually this space was finally complete, and so freaking proud. So proud of this space. I really am. But after this, okay, then we decided the building's done. Let's just live with it how it is. I'll work on little cosmetic things as time goes on, but we need to start thinking about like the future plans for the rest of the yard. We decided to go ahead and get a above ground pool. We ended up buying a bigger one this year because we were like, okay, this is going to be a permanent thing. We're going to add a concrete slab and we're going to add a pool deck. It's going to be great. So that is now the plan. So we went ahead and started with the concrete slab first, and we ended up getting some help. Thankfully, my stepdad had friends and family that does this for a living. So we ended up getting a really great price, and we got our entire slab poured, laid, labor cost, everything was right around $3,000. Oh, but one thing I did want to mention, originally we were going to do a wooden deck because we thought it was going to be cheaper than pouring the concrete, but it's actually cheaper to have a concrete slab poured when you know somebody. So super grateful for this. It turned out absolutely beautiful. Well, it might not look that beautiful right this second, but trust me, once it's textured and stained, it looks great. Then I worked on some cosmetic things in the meantime, so I had to add some trim above the door here, and I did decide to go ahead and paint the door black so everything matched a lot better. And then y'all did see me paint the house earlier too, so that was something else I ended up doing. That way we didn't have a yellow house with all the gray and black and the browns that we have going on out here. I wanted it to all flow really nicely. So this is where we were. We, like I said, hit a great point, and Dylan and I talked about waiting before we built the pool deck until it cooled off outside, because for some reason we like to start all of our projects in the summer, but we were like, you know what, YOLO, it's going to be great. Once we get it done, let's just do it. So we did. And this project cost us right around $2,300 to finish the pool deck, so not bad at all. And we did all the work ourselves. It saved us so much money. Had you paid someone to do this, they would easily charge you, $5,000 to $7,000 for a pool deck this size and for this look. So I think we hit the jackpot being able to build this ourselves, and it is so nice, and I think it made the backyard. This took us 2 months to finish though. Every weekend we worked on it in the heat of the summer. It was slow, very slow, and I'm pretty sure this is how I got in the best shape of my life. And the thing is, I'm really not kidding. I lost a ton of weight and I literally was super strong. And then the winter came and I turned into a little bear again. So maybe we need to build another pool deck. Who needs a pool deck? I'm just kidding. I literally could not do this in the summer. But what really sucks is that by the time we got done with everything in this backyard, we didn't even get a chance to actually enjoy it before the winter ended up hitting. And then, we got to enjoy it, don't get me wrong. Like all of fall and stuff, we did enjoy our space, but it's not the same as like the summertime enjoying it. So I think that's one of the reasons I was just really excited to share all this footage, because we're finally at that summer point where like we're having the summer pool nights and, just hanging out on the weekends outside. It's just been so much fun, and I'm just so grateful that it's done. But we ended up staining the deck. We used the color Sahara Desert. Sahara? Whatever. Same thing. And love the color. It turned out really pretty. I will say the stain is not held up that great. It's held up good. It just stains really easily. So it constantly needs to be pressure washed, which is not ideal. But then we got started on another big expensive project shortly after that, because it is too hot. You can't live in Florida without some type of porch cover. So we ended up building our huge gazebo. I have a full video on this if you want to watch the full process start to finish. And out of everything, you would think this would be the hardest. I think it looked hard because some of the wood was extremely heavy, but at this point I was ripped. I knew I could do this. And we did. In 2 days, we built this porch cover. So darn am I proud of us. And it turned out so beautiful. And I've actually had so many people say, "Oh, where did you buy that?" That is such a compliment. When you get a compliment, someone asking where you bought something knowing that you built it, you can't give someone a better compliment than that.
But yeah, so anyway, let's talk about the cost of this. So this was right under $3,000 to build this. The only reason why it cost us that much was because I made a mistake with ordering the wood. I accidentally ordered all 2x8s instead of 2x6s for the inside bracing, and that would have saved us a lot of money, but I made the mistake. Oh my lord, what did I just say? I made the mistake. And I decided, just instead of having to take, because I had it delivered to the house too, and instead of having to load it all up, take it back, I was just like, oh, let's just build it out of 2x8s. And so, is it built extra strong and sturdy? Absolutely. Was it a little bit more? Yep, it was a lot more, but it's okay. It turned out great. And sometimes you got to pick your battles. So, by the time we bought the paint, supplies, all of that good stuff, the brackets, the bolts, screws, it was right at like $3,000. And then a couple of the last little projects that we wanted to tackle was building this privacy wall and staining it. And then I also went ahead and stained the pool deck the same color, so everything looked really cohesive. And that was the last. Oh no, it wasn't. Nope, because then I couldn't stop. At this point, I'm just going from thing to thing. So I'll share the landscaping in just a second. But the color I'm using it's Valspar. It's a stain and sealer mix. You can buy this right off the shelf. And I have the color Cannon Brown. And I love this color and I love the stain. It works so well at just making sure that the wood lasts a lot longer. The last little thing I worked on was the landscaping on the side yard. So I added a privacy screen, I planted some plants and added some mulch, and this just kind of tied the whole space together, and it turned out really, really pretty. But let's go ahead and look at the before and after. Okay, here's the new space. It looks so good. Oh my gosh. Whenever you see like a good before and after, that's when you can really see how much work we put into this space. I feel like over the years, it's been kind of like a slow process because we've done it just, as we could. And that's what made it feel like it took forever. But now you can actually like see it all come together. It's incredible. But you know what I noticed the most as I was editing and like getting all the clips gathered up for this video? How much the kids have changed. Oh my gosh, we moved into this house and they were just babies. And I mean, they're still babies, but they just look so big now when I see the new footage, and it makes me so emotional because I feel like in the middle of doing all the work and just day to day, year by year, you don't see how much your kids are growing until you see what they look like 6 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's bittersweet. It really is, but yeah, let me give you a tour of the yard. Now, it's not perfect by any means. I need to pressure wash and stuff, but y'all don't care. Y'all don't care. So here's the spot where we hang out the most. This is where we literally sit all the time. I know I don't share that with you guys a lot, but that's like our personal time. So of course, like, I'm not filming every aspect of my life, but y'all always say like, y'all never use that space. Oh, we do. I just, obviously I'm not filming every single second of the day, but yeah, this is basically our living room. And then we have the pool deck, which was, you know what? I think the building was probably the hardest job. The pool deck was probably second, just because we decided to do that in the heat of the summer as well. It was absolutely brutal, but worth every single penny and bit of hard work. I mean, I think it really made the yard. I mean, we've done many pools over the years, but doing the above ground pools, it's not that it's necessarily an eyesore, but it does look better when you have a deck around it, right? So, love this. Now, I can give you guys like a price breakdown of everything. I'll have to go back and like look, and maybe I already talked about it throughout this video because that was something I wanted to share. But yeah, that looks really great. It looks so pretty at night too with all the lights on. And then we did plant many different trees. We tried and they just would not survive. So we ended up just deciding to go with banana trees, and those are all starting to grow and take off pretty well. So I can't wait to see what it looks like a year from now. I'm hoping this will all be covered in trees. That's the plan, to give us as much privacy as possible, which is one of the reasons I wanted to point out that we did this wall. Ideally, I would love to keep, excuse me, hold on one second. I would love to have this open just because it does make it much more brighter under here. In person, it's fine. Like, it looks bright. I think just on camera, the lighting kind of messes up. Would it be ideal to have this open and just big, airy space? Of course. but we need privacy as much as we can get. And this gives you that added privacy that we didn't have before, because all we have is the 2 privacy fences. We have ours, and then they just replaced theirs. So I don't know, I like having this. I feel like I don't have to worry about anybody listening to me or seeing what we're doing on the porch. That's great. And I'm really hoping these banana trees grow nice and tall, so eventually you can't see into our pool either. But this is what it looks like from under here. I will say the grill space, that's a work in progress. We want to do like a little outdoor kitchen right here, but I priced it out and it's going to be pretty expensive. And right now we have bigger, things that we're trying to focus on as far as financially goes. So that's going to be put on hold. We'll just use our old rusty, crusty grill, and it does a great job. Food tastes great on that. But yeah, so this is what it looks like from over here, like that. So now I want to talk about the porch cover, or porch, whatever you want to call it. So originally we built one on a much smaller scale. A lot of you actually found my channel from that video, and that was just kind of like on a whim. We needed shade. We were on a really tight budget. I think we did it for like $400 some. This one was a lot more expensive. We went with a lot better quality wood. It's so sturdy, in fact, that my dad, he's a contractor and stuff. He was like, you could build a house on top of this. It's like overkill, but I would rather be super sturdy than not sturdy enough. So yeah, everything is built, super strong. These are all 2x6s, 2x8s. 2x8s? No, these are all 2x6s. So I was wrong. They're 2x8s. This whole thing is 2x8s. So it is super duper sturdy. And then we just painted it to match the building and everything. But we do plan on extending it over here. So y'all stay tuned for that if you want to see like another tutorial on how to add to what you already have. That'll be a good one. We're going to try to give us some more shade and more coverage, because we would really love to have some type of table out here. And what we would love to do is have like a couch here instead, but you can't because it's not covered. So have like a couch and then have like a table in the background back there is what we talked about. Nothing crazy, but just something small, like a small round table, so we can eat and stuff and hang out, play cards, all that fun stuff. And then this will be an outdoor kitchen. Like I said, at that point, this will be all living space. This will be outdoor kitchen. It makes sense in our head, and I think it'll look really, really good. But this is what it looks like this. And what else did we do? Y'all seen the concrete slab? That made a huge difference. We don't have near as much dirt in the house. It's so much easier to keep up my floors. Highly recommend, if you have it in your budget, to make you a concrete slab that goes from like one spot all the way to the house. Oh, what a difference. The one regret I do have is I wish that we would have did the concrete over here. We didn't, because I was trying to save money and I was trying to get away with, this was a pretty big, expensive project. And something else I was a little worried about was the plumbing, because a lot of the plumbing is run on this side. And I was like, oh my gosh, what if we ever needed to like add the bathroom down the line? If we want to make this into like a little apartment, we're gonna have to like knock up the concrete. It's gonna be a freaking nightmare. So that's why we ended up leaving that, and I think it looks fine. I ended up finding these flagstone pavers on the side of the road in our neighborhood, so I just made like a little pathway to our garden over there. And this was a tree I got a couple years ago for Mother's Day. It's moved around a little bit, but she's still surviving. And I think that's pretty much it for the backyard. Right? Did I miss anything? I did this little area over here. Made this all cute. I do need to blow out the mulch. I literally just weed eated and mowed to give you guys this video, and I didn't have a long enough cord to clean out the flower bed, so just pretend it's all pretty. But oh no, my fountain. The fountain! The weight broke off of it, so. Excuse me, you're supposed to be in the middle of the pool. But while I'm up here, I'll show you what it looks like from up here. This is what the planes get to see. Oh, look, there's a toy up there. So, anyway, let's go check out the inside of the building. I'll show you guys what that space looks like. But here's my little apartment.
I love it out here. This is where I spend a lot of my time. Editing, filming. I love this space. Oh my gosh, and look how pretty it looks in the window and the lighting. I love it. Love it. This is where you will find me 99% of my time editing videos. And this table like lifts up, which is really nice. So yeah, that is my little hangout spot. We watch movies out here. We have like really, really awesome surround sound and nice big TV. We even have a surround sound in our TV stand that we built that too. I forgot to share that in the video, but yeah, I can link those videos. And then I have my little workout space. It's a little messy, but I use this daily, so it never really stays clean. And I have the lights around the mirrors, and I can change those. I have like a little remote. I'll show you. Wait, what did I do with the remote? Bingo, I found it. But yeah, I can like change the color depending on what I want. But yeah, this is what the building looks like. I always call it the building just because it's a steel building. So it just stuck. I don't know. I just like calling it that. But yeah, this is where I spend a lot of my time. All the time. This is like my little hideout. Home away from home, I guess you could say. Well, home near home. But yeah, this is the little laundry room area. I do have plans for in here, but you know, we're working slowly but surely. We'll get it done. It's just, you know, everything is so expensive, y'all. I'm trying to keep it all pretty affordable and just work on things as we can. But yeah, that's the yard. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments below, but let's get into some slow-mos. The number one question I've received since sharing our backyard renovations is how much does it cost? And I definitely think that every home, every scenario is going to be different. Every area is going to be different. But for us, in case you're curious on what it has cost us over the past 6 years, it has been about $43,000. Now, I know that sounds like a large number, but over 6 years working on little projects, that includes fencing, that includes the building, finishing out the building, the porch, the concrete, the permits, literally everything. Everything you're looking at is included in that price. And to do that over years and years slowly and not go into debt, that's the best way to do that. And while it does seem like a big number, you got to try to like break it down. But I know that's been a really hot topic, is like, what would something like this cost? And I would say if, you know, you take away all the things I did at the beginning of the video, I think you're looking at about a $40,000 project. If you were to like have a fresh, clean backyard and be like, I want a building, I want a porch cover, I want something similar to this, and you were to do it yourself, that's about how much you would pay, give or take. I mean, obviously I can't guarantee that's the price, but pretty darn close. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see all of you in my next one.